In 2024, Brunei and Australia are celebrating 40 years of diplomatic relations. I sat down with Luke Arnold, the Australian High Commissioner, to get his insights on the bilateral relationship. So, High Commissioner, welcome to the show.
Great, thanks for having me, Tim.
So this is a year of anniversaries, of course, with ASEAN and Australia, but of course Brunei and Australia are having their 40th anniversary. What's been some of the sort of highlights of the relationship?
Yeah, great, good question. So Brunei this year is celebrating what they characterise as the 40th anniversary of their resumption of full independence. So the Sultan is of the view, and I think he's right, that Brunei never fully ceded sovereignty and that it was an independent country before colonisation. So resumption of full independence is how they talk about it. And when they did resume their full independence, we were amongst the first countries to recognise them and to establish those diplomatic relations. So we're celebrating 40 years of that this year. Our relationship, Australia's relationship with Brunei does, of course, predate that. Indigenous, as you know, Indigenous Australians have been trading with that region for a very long time. And then in World War II, Australia played an instrumental role in the liberation of Borneo, including through landings in Brunei that we call Operation Oboe. So the relationship does predate that 40 years. But in the 40 years that Brunei has resumed its full independence, we've really taken the relationship from strength to strength. So it started in 1985 with a whole lot of defence and security cooperation, where we still have standing exercises. We do a lot in the defence space, and that is a real highlight of the relationship. And now also in law enforcement, with police-to-police cooperation on things like countering narcotics and terrorism. And it's now moving, and it's apt for this show, it's moving into a broader relationship that encompasses economic cooperation as well. I think just before my time as High Commissioner, when COVID hit, it created an opportunity for Australia to build its relationships across Southeast Asia, but in Brunei's case, I think we really seized that opportunity to take our warm neighbourly friendship to the next level. Australia provided some vaccines, which went down exceptionally well. It was at the very start of the pandemic, and that really put our relationship on track, on a very good track during Brunei's ASEAN chair year in 2021. And so we cooperated really well on the back of that vaccine donation throughout that chair year. So the Sultan and the then Prime Minister Morrison, they co-developed the East Asia Summit leaders' statement on mental health cooperation. So it was the first time that leaders had in our region speaking openly about the importance of mental health. And they got, between the two of them, got President Biden, President Xi to sign up to this declaration to ramp up mental health cooperation. Brunei also committed to establishing a climate change centre, which we're going to support. So there's some amazing cooperation in that ASEAN year in 2021. And then in my time, I started in January 2022. We've really beefed up the ASEAN cooperation with Brunei, but also bilateral cooperation. So Minister Wong visited as part of her pledge to visit every Southeast Asian country in her first 12 months. I think everyone except Myanmar, and she did that. She fulfilled her promise, and so she came to Brunei in October of 2022 and progressed a whole lot of cooperation on things like climate change, food security, maritime cooperation, a whole range of really important bilateral issues. And then on the back of that, His Majesty visited Australia as a guest of government in June last year and signed with now Prime Minister Albanese a comprehensive partnership. So we've elevated the relationship. And bureaucrats and diplomats like me love these things, but it is really important that we are now formally comprehensive partners that send signals to both of our systems that it's really important for us to cooperate. And we're working on a plan of action to implement this comprehensive partnership that Prime Minister Albanese and His Majesty signed about 9 months ago.
So again, it's another anniversary of Australia and ASEAN, and Brunei must be the smallest member of ASEAN, but it must play an important role with ASEAN. And does Australia help Brunei in that?
Yeah, good question. They are the smallest ASEAN. I mean, Singapore is the next smallest, but Singapore is multiple times bigger than Brunei.
Of course.
And so they, because they are a small country population-wise, ASEAN matters probably more to them than to any other ASEAN member state. They invest a lot of time and energy and resources into ASEAN forums. They even have an ASEAN department headed by a permanent secretary who reports to the minister. So they really take ASEAN seriously. And we work with them on that. So they realise, for example, that ASEAN's credibility requires it to take action on climate change. And so they have put their hand up, the Bruneians, to host an ASEAN Climate Change Centre, and we have pledged to help them to do that. So we're already working with them on looking at funding models for the centre, on mobilising technical expertise, on developing the corporate systems to build this centre to make sure it's a success, and that it helps ASEAN more broadly deal with what is a massive issue for our region.
Now this vision, Wawasan Brunei 2035, is sort of the great transformation of Brunei. How do you see that developing the country?
Yeah, so that's so every Bruneian knows what Wawasan 2035, and Wawasan means vision, what it means. It's actually really just, I think now it's become code for the importance of Brunei's economic transformation. It is a country that is heavily dependent on oil and gas revenue. I think it's somewhere around 80% of government revenue is coming from this one sector. And Bruneians know that that's not sustainable from either a supply or a demand perspective. So they know they need to diversify. And so Wawasan Vision 2035 is a strategy to do that. It's been around for a while, but my sense is just in the last few years, and actually even in this year, there's a bit more urgency about it. And I think they're seeing that prices of hydrocarbons are volatile, that the world is starting to decarbonise, and that they need to invest in going beyond that industry. And so that's really what Wawasan means to a lot of Bruneians, particularly policymakers. And it's good that there is this kind of increasing sense of urgency around that.
So with Wawasan 2035, the great transformation of Brunei, what's Australia's role?
Well, there's a member of parliament, it was actually reported in today's media, a member of the Brunei Legislative Council was talking about Wawasan, and the way he described it, he said, look, Brunei needs to get out of its, he said, kapompong, which means cocoon. It's like we need to go beyond Brunei. We need to work with other partners. And Australia is a partner that they turn to, and we want to be a partner of choice in that economic transformation. So when Minister Wong visited, she had conversations including with the Finance Minister about what kind of technical advice and policy dialogues we can have on climate policy, for example, and energy transformation. We brought a high-powered delegation down to Australia of Bruneian climate policy makers and energy transition experts to come down and they visited Canberra, they visited Melbourne, they even went out to the Latrobe Valley to see what's going on there. And they will go back to Brunei with networks in Australia and start implementing, or continue to implement and to deepen that those policy settings that will hopefully enable Brunei to diversify its economy and seize opportunities. Like the green economy, we've got to see as an opportunity. Just like Australia has realised that after many years of, I think, unhelpful debate about climate, we've finally decided, well, actually, this is an opportunity for us, and we can create jobs in our country. And sharing with Brunei how we've embarked on that and what we've done right, but also what we've done wrong, I think is going to be really useful, and I think Brunei will appreciate it.
Well, High Commissioner, thanks for your time and for welcoming us to Brunei and telling us about the relationship with Australia.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for having me again.